We say a very special good afternoon to Attorney at Law, Vere III, Chairman of the True Labour Party and a member of Faithful Nationals. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Dave. Good afternoon, Antigua and Barbudans. So nice to be back on your show.
Well, always good to have you. Let me talk to me about True Labour. Any new way going? Any focus? Anything happening out there that I can entrust the general public to become part of True Labour?
Well, of course. Anybody can contact me, Charlene, any of our members, and come and see what we're all about. We don't like you just to pay a membership and say you're a member. You need to come and see us for 2, 3, 4 occasions, how we conduct ourselves at our executive meeting or general meetings, and then you make a decision. Usually we give you a copy of our constitution, either hard copy or get it electronically, and we give you a copy of our 2014 manifesto, and you make the decision. We don't want it a situation where you join an organization without thinking about it, and then you find you're in there, and then you don't want to be a part of it. So we like you to know what it's all about, and then you sign up. Yeah, we signed up one gentleman on Monday. We had at our last meeting, so people are coming in. Not in the droves, I would admit to that, but as I said, we have our plans. So when we really start our membership drive, right now we just holding pattern, and the party has really been focused on keeping the pickets with the Faithful Nationals going, and that is what I would like to speak about today, because we're having a picket at Heritage Key tomorrow, starting at 9 o'clock till
Heritage
12.
Key?
Heritage Key.
You know what they said the last time you guys went down there?
Yeah.
You ran the cruise ships.
We ran away a whole cruise ship. The captain saw us picketing peacefully. No riot, no tear gas, no harm to individuals, no damage to property. And because they saw a picket and a man on a bullhorn on the first tier of steps going up the steps to Heritage Key on Thames Street, and the groups just saw that and said, "Boy, the natives must be restless. I can't go into that port.
But are the natives restless? Are the natives restless?"
No, but I don't know why I'm saying it. Is like, what was the danger? There's been no complaints to the police by any citizen or anybody visiting Antigua and Barbuda or the cruise ships about a picket taking place where they saw some harm happening to their passengers. So how did you come to the conclusion that we ran a whole boatload of people? It's just nonsense.
It's not nonsense. Just one boat, no, it's many boats.
Many boats we ran out to Antigua. Oh yeah, all the ones that said they're not coming in September. They heard a peaceful picket took place. But you remember, these individuals are coming from the United States and Europe, where in France just 3 weeks ago, it's 200 people in Paris, That is the most popular destination for tourists in Europe. In Paris, they had a riot where 200 protesters went to jail. That's the yellow vest.
Yellow vest. Yeah.
And they had police officers being injured, tear gas being thrown, pepper spray being sprayed into people's eyes. But when they come to Antigua, the government officials, more so Max Hurst, is telling us they don't want to see a peaceful picket where nobody is injured at all. It's foolishness. You remember in America they had Take Back Wall Street. Remember that movement?
Yeah.
They were down in Wall Street and they actually took over one of the parks down there.
They camped.
They camped in the park, even though the park and
the
park and them was supposed to be open at a certain point in time of the night. Then they closed.
In fact, guess what? They had to take toilets and all kind of things to facilitate folks who were down there,
because it was so bad down there, and that is the reason why they had to move them out. Occupy Wall Street, because remember,
that was the name of it. Occupy
Wall Street. That's about 7-8 years ago.
I don't remember the time frame, but I remember it
around
well.
That time. And the whole idea was that they were illegally staying in the parks over the time, because the parks in them are closed at a period of time in the night to prevent vagrants and people doing all kind of,
they camped out there. They camped
out there, break the law and everything. There are tourists that go down to Wall Street and Trinity Place to look at all the architecture. Remember, further down they have also the World Trade Center,
yeah.
And the new World Trade Center. No, these are tourist destinations. I've never heard it. Do not have a peaceful protest in America or any country in the Western Hemisphere, because your tourists mightn't like a legal, safe, no incident picket taking place.
I look at Brexit just recently. The folks who's
were in the
streets.
But don't you remember just several years ago when the police killed a black guy, and all those English little kids get out in the street and they burnt and people died. And that happened. These are realities that happen in these countries. Now our government or government officials saying we must not exercise our constitutional right to protest. And I say that cannot be right. We in the Faithful Nationals, nobody is talking about any riot. There's nobody who is telling people to go out there and to interfere with people or to harm people or to damage property. It is a peaceful protest that is guaranteed under the Constitution of Antigua and Barbuda, and the way we carry out the protest is based on the Public Order Act. And we have a right to do so. We have done it on one occasion, and then we heard all this stuff. I think it was Maxwell started off with the nonsense. Then Philip Shaw was in the Senate talking about we shouldn't go down there. But I'd like any of these individuals, if they want to stop me, I'll be down there tomorrow. So you can come down there and try to enforce your version of the law on me. But I am armed with the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing we heard also, oh, y'all only had 50 or 100 picketers. But remember, one man and God is an army. That is what I remind them about. Mm. And I remember even more so, Max Hurst, back in 1955, his father was a general secretary carrying the same name, Lionel Hurst, who paid the picketers, 6 picketers, to go and picket O'Neill Drug Store. You will remember where it was? I didn't know. I was born 71. I was a little too young. But I am told from reliable sources, and you can confirm that it was on Thames Street and High Street, where the Kentucky used to be.
Yeah.
Right? It was on that corner. So what Mr. Hurst, and Hurst Jr. I'm talking about, is saying that a hop, skip, and a jump away from where we're picketing, his father used to picket there. And the union was picketing that place, and there was a whole lot of confusion that went on there.
I think someone got hurt or something there.
People were threatened, assaulted, battered. There was one guy that was, I think it was Levi Joe, he was the only one that was found guilty of nuisance. But the judge did find that the conduct of the picket was intimidatory to not only the owners of the drugstore, but their patrons. You understand? And this is the reality. You know where I got this? Look at the judgment right here. You know where I got this from?
No.
Max Hurst, he gave me the judgment. He was touting about
He gave it to you?
He gave me, I didn't know, I heard him on the radio talking about it, and I asked him for a copy. So he gave me a copy of the judgment, the O'Neill Drugstore cases. And he was touting it that is such an example on the legacy of the Antigua Trade and Labor Union fighting for the laborers, which was what the situation was. They had an employee at O'Neill's Drugstore, Avril Winter, and she was terminated. Just to make it sure, she was terminated from employment, and the employer did not tell her the reason for termination. They just said, you're fired, here's your money, go. Didn't know. The General Secretary, Lionel Hurst, Sr., was told by the executive to organize a picket. He employed 6 picketers to go over there and picket. By the time they heard about it, the other people, it became 12 people, and it gradually grew. They even had Jim Galloway, my old buddy from Lone Wolf days. He was on the picket line. He was in some steel band. He went up there with the steel band, was playing. It was a ruckus they caused over there. But it is one of the most important cases that ever came out of Antigua, if not the most important case. Because you see, the case went all the way up to the Privy Council. So it establishes or confirms that when you fire somebody, they need to know what they were terminated for. What is the reason? Because it could be unfair dismissal, but you just say, hey, take your money, we don't want you. So they can't even respond to say, you just left guessing. And you only know we left guessing. And if you go back to the employer and the employer doesn't say anything, all they can say, I was fired. So even now, the law really is that if they do not notify you within 7 days of why you were terminated, when they carry the matter to the labor commissioner or you reach industrial court, you cannot the employer cannot rely on a reason after when he did not respond in 7 days. You can't come and say, but this was the reason. Even if you have a good reason, you can't rely on it.
We got to take a break.
Okay.
Attorney at law Vere III is with us, chairman of the True Labour Party and member of the Faithful Nationals. There's an event that's coming up tomorrow, a protest that's coming up tomorrow. But we were speaking about the judgment.
The judgment, yes.
And that went all the way to the Privy Council.
It went all the way to the Privy Council. So it is a case that is internationally recognized in all the countries that still rely on the Privy Council, and even the countries that don't, is may not be binding in some jurisdiction, but is persuasive authority. And this is one of the bedrocks that you can't just fire somebody until they get out your shop and take your money and go. You have to notify them of why in writing in Antigua within 7 days after they are terminated. But what is interesting to note, and I'm reading from the judgment here, the picketing took place pursuant to the resolution referred to above of the Executive Committee of the Trades and Labor Union of the 9th of September 1955. After the meeting, the appellants Joseph No. 7 and Hurst, the General Secretary, engaged 6 paid picketers to picket the respondents' business premises. So those are the people who organized this thing along with the executive of a court. Let me read another part on page 5. The trial judge approached this question as follows. He found that the appellants other than Samuel had by the resolution of the 9th of September 1955 agreed to the picketing of the respondents' premises, that the General Secretary had appointed the pickets pursuant to the authority conferred on him by the resolution, that the pickets so appointed had used coercion, intimidation, and threats of personal violence, that the pickets so appointed were the servants of the appellants who were liable for the acts of their servants. He accordingly held that although the predominant object of the picketing was the furthering by the appellants of their own interests, they had conspired to achieve their purpose by the use of unlawful means. And what I'm telling the people of Antigua, and more so Lionel Max Hurst, is that the faithful nationals will not be conducting themselves like his father and my grandfather and several other of the 39ers and the national heroes and bedrocks of our society did back in 1955. We will not be conducting ourselves like that. I mean, when I heard Mr. Hurst say that whoever conducted this thing, we were wicked. So I want to know what he thinks of the picket at O'Neill Drugstore, because it is in the same vicinity of where we are picketing. Now, you know they're going to come with but that was 1955 and we didn't have so many tourists, if at all. But what I'd like to my counter response is, suppose Miss Avril Winter was working down at Heritage Key and she was terminated in 2019. Would Mr. Hurst support a picket by the ATNLU in Heritage Key? Or is that not for the union to look about laborers' interests, and they're more concerned with the cruise tourists coming to the port? That's my question to them when they're saying that what happened back in 1955 should not be done today. It is about the laborers. And what we are concerned about are the laborers who work down at this port of entry in Heritage Key with the GPH agreement, which we're hearing it is signed and is already a done deal, but then they're going back to change certain clauses or terms in the contract. I've never heard of a government in Antigua that put the cart before the horse on so many occasions, Dave. This is not the first time where they had to go and revisit contracts, because obviously they haven't read the contract. It has not germinated on their mind of actually what they are signing on to. The fact that the government is saying they signed off on a contract did not inform the citizens of something that is going to affect them or all of us, because it's a major part of our tourism industry, right? And now they're saying, after there's objections by the persons who have interest down here, that they're going to take out certain clause or reduce the time of the lease. Something is wrong. You're supposed to inform the people of Antigua and Barbuda of what you intended to do. And then we can have our input. It seems like if they only want their input after the fact. And technically they're wrong, because if they've already signed that contract, that's really the end of the story. The GPH does not have to change any contract. I guess they figure they're more likely to gain still with whatever amendments made than lose, so they're fine with it. But if they want to stand fast on a signed contract, they can carry this government to court. And they will be paid heavily, not by the Prime Minister or the AG or whoever has signed off on it. Is the taxpayer of Antigua will be responsible for the foolishness that they have done. Now, my main objection to the Global Port Agreement is that it is a giveaway. And when I say giveaway, it's a lease, so it can't be a giveaway. It is a giveaway. Because if you're saying that for another 40 years, Antiguans and Barbudans do not have a say in the running of the port, you're not saying that it's a share agreement of the risk and the profit, where there's 51% the government of Antigua is holding for the people of Antigua and Barbuda, so they will have the final say. You're saying for 40 years, that is out of our hands. Whatever they do down here, when Global Port Holding decide that they don't want the taxi men so close to Heritage Key, they have to stay further up the road or by the bus station. What is the government going to say? They're going to go back and change the contract?
But I keep saying something, and I'll keep interject here. 30 years in the first instance.
No, it is 40 years. I'm not playing any semantics. What I find in our culture in Antigua, we like to play around with words and we like to play around with numbers. It is 30 years and an addition of 10 years that they have. They can get 10 further years. Right? So if you have a 30-year sweetheart deal, most likely you're going to take up the option for another 10 years. So don't play 6 and 9 with me. It is 40 years. Nobody's going to turn down such a deal and say, no, we're making too much money, so we don't want that extra 10 years. Okay, maybe they don't understand it in the Queen's English, so I'll give them to them in the raw back. 40 years, it be.
40 years? 40
years it be. Bottom line. Straight up. I hope I clarified that to people.
But they're making provisions to change it.
Yeah, after the fact. After the fact.
Now, tomorrow's picket starts at what time?
Tomorrow picket starts at 9 o'clock. We'll be gathering up there before 9, but we should really start to picket from 9 o'clock and we go all the way down to 12 o'clock. As I said, it's various political organizations, activist groups, concerned citizens. The crowds have been very, very good, and people... You see them on the road, you don't even know their names. That's why I say, when's the next picket? You know, and the fact that we are getting it out on social media and people are seeing what we're all about. I mean, if the police thinks there's something wrong with our pickets, they have the options to even look at our Facebook page and you can see what took place. So it is also beneficial to us that if they try something with us, everything is recorded. You understand? What I dislike most about a picket, and I've been doing that for quite a while now, you know, is that I find that the police officers, the ordinary officers who is there to enforce the law, is ignorant of the laws under the Public Order Act and how a picket is conducted. Let me give you an example. When I used to picket with the Lone Wolves, and that's one of my aliases also.
The Lone Wolf, yeah.
We were picketing the Chinese embassy.
You want some money for that?
Which one? No. That they said they didn't sign off on the bill, the budget as yet. So they tell me.
So you haven't got the money, is it?
No. Dave, you know you would have got something, a big glass, Dom Perignon bottle or something. You know.
Nice red wine.
You want red wine? I give you champagne. Come on, man. Dave, it's too rich. Which too rich for your palate? So anyway, what I was getting back to say that one time we were picking a Lone Wolf out at the Chinese embassy at Marby Hill, and then we heard a siren coming up the road, police car blazing up the road. He have this undercar Crime Stoppers, and he's blazing up the road, the Marby Hill Road. The officer probably did not know where the embassy was, so he probably realized at the last minute, so he made a turn before he raided the hill. But the car nearly overturned because he was blazing up there so fast. I suppose he thought he was fighting crime, because I don't know what he's rushing to get there for. It's a picket. If anybody's supposed to be protected by the law enforcement officers, is the picketers, because they're exercising their right under the Constitution. In his mind, I believe it was, we're disturbing the Chinese and you shouldn't be doing this. On another occasion, I remember when we were picking...
So what did they do when they get there? What did they do to you? What did the police officer do to you?
The officer, they're acting hostile, like we were doing something wrong. On another occasion, they started to threaten some of the picketers that they're going to take away their cell phones if they take video of them. You're on duty. You're not an ordinary...
You mean if you take a picture of the police officer?
Oh, video, yeah.
They're going to take away your cell phone?
They were going to arrest one of our guys. You know, that is what I dislike, that there are pickets being conducted. You have law enforcement on the ground enforcing law that they're ignorant about. Even just 2 weeks ago, it looked like the riot squad was up there at by the parliament, and it looked like they were coming to take me away because I was picketing on the parliament side of Queen Elizabeth Highway. I explained to them, listen, it is guaranteed my right to picket government buildings under the second schedule of the Public Order Act. It doesn't say you can picket. It says you can picket Parliament, government buildings, you can picket the courthouse. It expressly states so in the second schedule. So I'm telling the officer, you don't want me to picket on the side of the Parliament. You want me to go on the other side, the southern side of the road. If I wanted to picket the nurses' hostel, I'll be over there.
Because that's where the southern side is.
The southern side is. I am picketing Parliament. So you can't come and tell me I can't picket here. I'm not obstructing traffic. I'm not hindering anybody to get in or out of Parliament. Like Max Hurst's father and my grandfather were part of at O'Neill Drugstore. We're not doing any of that. Max, you remember? That's our legacy, right? We're not doing any of that. So just don't interfere with me. Anyway, they came out, and thank goodness that the officer Wade, I don't even know what their titles are. He was a senior police officer. He came and
assistant commissioner.
Assistant commissioner. He came in there and he cooled things down, and he realized that we have a right. There's lots of traffic coming up and flow. So in order to prevent anybody getting hard, we agreed to the blocking off of one side of the road. That we can stand up in the road and the traffic can go back and forth on the other side. But you have to temper road traffic with our right to be there. And to deny us is a serious breach of our fundamental rights to express ourselves in the form of protest. So that is what we plan to do tomorrow. We're not going to do any of that stuff that happened back in 55, Mr. Hurst. We're going to be very peaceful.
55 or 51?
55 for the old O'Neill Drugstore. 51 was for the Quinn Ferrara's picket.
Quinn Ferrara?
Yeah, when they picketed him on Long Street and at his house. on
what were they picketing him for?
That situation was a lady, I believe, she wanted to go to a Labor Day. And they told her, if you go, you're going to be fired. And that was really establishing Labor Day as a holiday. You remember, it wasn't a holiday, it wasn't the first Monday in May you go and sit down on the beach. It was, can I go? Because the union is having a picket. No, you can't go. And they fired her. You understand? So that was one of the pickets that helped to establish that Labor Day. Unless if you want to get picket in your house or at your place of business. You're going to have to give the laborers a day to go and celebrate their
So they
hard
did
work.
picket both places,
They
and
picket both places,
business and home.
Home and business. And that is the history that we have. In order to fight for the laborers, it wasn't a tea party. A lot of it wasn't nice. You understand? Nobody died as far as I saw for what they did, but people were intimidated. And it was for a good cause. At the end of the day, the laborers are better off for what was done.
Thank you for staying with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Of course, we have with us attorney at law Vere Bird III. Vere, a quick question off the cup. Is the magistrate court closed?
From what I understand, it is, yes. I haven't been down there since last week, but I heard that it was closed. No, but I do know that they were intending to move from there because they... early in the year, they said they were going to move to the Transportation Board in Herbert's. I believe that was too far out and difficult for the average person to get to. So they said they were going down by the new building that the Chinese built down at Knuckle Block.
Yeah, but is that factual or is just that rumors?
No, well, I heard it from the staff that they were supposed to move down there. The time frame
I spoke to an attorney today, and he told me that most of his cases was put back until July. That's why I asked, because I know that you're an attorney at law in the court.
Well, Dave,
there's a sign up. I don't know if the sign is still there.
Dave, the magistrate court has been operating half day for the last several months.
Yeah, but I know half day, but I'm just speaking about closed because our news reporters went there and there was a sign there. The door was closed and the staff did indicated to them that...
that is still around.
So I just wanted to know, and I know for a fact, I think they said if you're having someone who needs to get bail, they can get bail. They can go there to get bail.
First instance in cases.
Whatever. Yeah. But let me ask you this now, because if the magistrate court is closed, isn't there a legal right for folks who are detained or on remand to get to the courthouse like every week?
Yes, but what they do is that the magistrate usually goes up to the prison now.
So that's part of it. You can go to the prison.
Who can go to the
The
prison?
magistrate.
Yeah, they do go to the
So
prison.
you don't necessarily have to come down to...
Not as such anymore.
I was looking for the
maybe
legality.
some magistrates do that still, but I know that some magistrate, the chief magistrate, was going up to the prison to deal with the remands.
Oh, okay.
Or down at the St. John's police station.
Oh, okay.
So that has lessened the load on, I guess, the police and the warden of the prison, prison officers to get the prisoners, find them, and make sure they're safe and carry them to the...
I was just curious
court.
about those things.
Yeah.
So we get back. The picketing is tomorrow.
The picketing is tomorrow, and we are picketing
Are you
against...
pleased of the coming together of the faithful nationals in an event like this?
Of course, it's been very successful so far. I mean, time will tell. It's not an easy thing to keep a picket or pickets continuous every week. But we believe that most of the people in the Faithful Nationals are seasoned politicians, seasoned activists, people who have been here and done these things before. So I don't see any slack off in the amount of protests. It is a bad deal. It is a giveaway. And something needs to be done. I hear they're talking about changing certain terms, and they're speaking to the cruise lines and so on, which was the cause. It wasn't us. It was this Global Ports Holding saying that they're going to increase the head tax. That was the cause. And that is what Mr. Liner Heard needs to come and tell the public, and not blame an innocent picket for causing 39 or so cruise ships to not come to the destination. And you know, when you lie to the public like that, there are people who will take that and to their grave and say this is Vere and Faithful Nationals, and they were the ones that caused the boats not to come here. It is the cause of a government that did not think through a policy of, you have no leverage against the cruise lines. You have no leverage. So how are you going to go and demand from them an increase? What is the leverage? If we were an economic powerhouse and we were not a one industry, a tourism industry, we had several other industries that were burgeoning and could employ lots of our people. And we could say, we can take a hit. It is, if it's $5 a head, it's $10 now. Take it or leave it. But the government has not created any other avenue to create an industry. So therefore, how are you going to go and demand an increase when you have no leverage? The plan for the True Labour Party since 2014, and you know it better than us, we wanted to start a marijuana industry, a legal marijuana industry. Had that taken place since 2014, we believe by now that industry would have taken off and paid a lot of our bills, our national debt. We would have been in a position by now, if the people had taken a second glance at what we were saying, to actually have some leverage against the cruise ship industry.
You know, Go Green claimed that. Go Green
no. Before,
Go Green says he was the one.
No. Mr. Green. That was in our manifesto for 2014. Our manifesto came out after the Labour Party's own, right? They came out, I believe, on a Friday, and the Saturday we launched our manifesto. Mr. Green's manifesto, I don't even know if it's in existence. But I can get you the date when we had it in our manifesto. And we were talking about that all 2012 leading into the election of 2014, that we would like to legalize marijuana. He said the same thing, but he was not the first.
Okay.
That is what I remember, and that is what we have documentary evidence of when we said it.
So now tell me this now. Based on what the law now, you have a legal mind. The fact is that you can get, what it is, 4 trees? Is it 4 trees?
3 trees or 5 trees or
no,
some
4 trees and 15 grams? Is it grams?
4 trees and 15 grams. That's nice to know. I don't grow any trees in my house, or I haven't smoked a joint in a long time. I'm not going to act like a prissy. I haven't smoked a joint in a long time. You see, all that stuff and the Rastafarian stuff and the smoking of weed and all that stuff, that never really affect me. I never get a high on that stuff, you know, Dave. The only way I got it, boy, I remember I was in Buckingham University after my constitutional law class, boy. I went over to a girlfriend's house, and they had no. I didn't. It doesn't affect me when I smoke.
No, but I never did.
I had a ganja cake.
What's a ganja cake?
Yeah, the marijuana's in the cake. I had a ganja cake about 2006.
Yeah.
You don't remember, Dave? The world turned upside down. You don't remember
what
that?
What do you mean ganja cake?
It was something about Yeah, the ganja.
Which world turned upside down?
It's a Betty Crocker cake that they had some ganja laced in it.
Okay, I think they gave it to some school or something like that. I don't know.
I'm saying my account is when I felt the high was a ganja cake in 2006.
But you know, I'm drinking the tea nightly now.
Yeah?
Oh,
is
yeah.
it good? Is it helping you or is it strengthening you?
Well, it's not a strength. It makes me sleep.
Oh, well, that's
It
good.
relaxes me.
Where they sell that? Is it you do it yourself or you?
It's a tree. 4 trees. They give you a right for the 4 trees, but I don't have no trees, so somebody set me up.
Oh, I thought you had your own plants.
So I get the plants, whatever. Now I get people pick plants and give it to me for my tea. Some folks make the tea for me.
Yeah.
And I have it in the refrigerator. I'm serious. I drink the tea. I've never smoked a cigarette
it's just
or
amazing
spliff.
that
Never in my life.
so many years and so much brutality has been done to people over
But I drink
a
the
plant.
tea, man.
Over a plant. It's something that we should have legalized a long time ago. I don't believe the government wants to legalize it because so many people would be empowered or enhance their financial wealth. I believe they...
But if they even say if they legalize it, there has to be a policy that goes with you being able to set up shop and do these things.
That is what I'm saying. In our manifesto 2014.
You had all that?
There was a policy. It was supposed to be like a statutory body. And then they set the rates where the statutory would buy the legal product. You can't, not everybody can just grow it and think you have to have a license. Both the license to grow and the license to sell.
And the statutory body would be
the body that you can only sell it to them. And then
so you won't be able to sell it on the street and
no. That is inviting chaos. The whole idea was that the you know who's harvesting because they have a license.
Yeah.
And you have spot inspections and you have to know how many trees and how many plants.
But isn't that the way that I think they're planning to go?
I don't know what they're planning to do, right? But I'm just saying that was 2014. We're now 2019.
We take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were at the point of and Frank I tell me, stay away from the word marijuana. It says cannabis.
Yes, cannabis, that's the word.
Because marijuana, it sounds as a bad word.
I like the sound of it.
Marijuana?
It sounds Latin, it's Mexican. Remember them banditos, them old Western film, marijuana. I love that stuff, man. It sounds good.
Okay, but there's a policy that you guys have, and of course, like you said, you're not aware of the policy. I'm looking at the clock on the wall. I need to speak about something that's taking place today. And, it's been going on all week long, but things have come to a head where at Barrymore Hotel, the Barbudans that were staying there, some were there before the hurricane, some were there because of the hurricane.
Yeah.
And today, as I know they did before, but today we've been getting complaints about locks have been changed and people are told to get out of the building. They have no place to go. In fact, they went to a break here because someone was trying to seek your services.
Yes, and they will get that service. I'll contact them as soon as we finish this interview.
But what do you say about that? And are those people, are you encouraging those folks? Because look at the situation like this. Barbudans are there. Barbudans, before the first election, when Mr. Nibbs lost, there was some words that were said.
Yes.
Before the election, though, this council election, they were told that, hey, you have a deadline to get out. But after the election now, there's not a deadline anymore. I hear police was down there, NODS was down there, Public Works was down there, and folks are being evicted.
Yes.
Now, I can't even go there because they're not paying rent. They were there, they were holding. So, but do you invite those people to come and speak? They hear you on the radio. Someone is hoping that you can assist them because they don't have any money to file legal. Is there any legal way they can get out of this?
I don't know. I'll have to hear what their individual complaints are. Remember, everybody is different circumstances. Why they're there before hurricane, after hurricane. But the conditions from what I have heard that are in Barbuda, it is not a place that everybody can go back home even up to this point in time. A lot of the government services are not there. There's no banking service. So I believe that they're still under some state of emergency in that community or that island is not functioning normally up to this point in time. What is the central government doing about that? I believe that they need to really have somewhere where the people can go in Antigua.
But don't you believe the central government is still working on developing Barbuda? I put in assisting them. I don't know the details.
It seems to be a two-track development. They are the rich folks with their catering for and cutting up land.
Folks? No rich folks
the quote-unquote investors, or we will call them speculators.
Okay.
Because there was a speculator over in Barbuda where he made, on a speculation, $10 million US. And he doesn't own the property. It's the Antiguans that own the property. But because he speculated, he made money on something that he didn't own. You understand? And that is what I'm saying. There seems to be a two-track. They want to put down international airport. They want to give to Paradise Lost, and they want to have all these supposedly progress and development of the country. But how are you developing the country for the local people? You always hear this term progress and development, and these are euphemisms. And I don't like euphemism. When you say progress in what vein? What is the condition of the schools? What is the condition of the government services over in Barbuda? What is the condition so that people can find work over there and not have to travel over to Antigua and then maybe on long weekends travel back to Barbuda? But that is what I want to hear about, the progress in that vein, not about progress about another speculator making $10 million off of something he doesn't own. Because that just happened 2 weeks ago.
Huh?
We'll go into that after here.
Okay.
Yes. And that is my real concern. But as I always tell them, my grandmother is a Barbudan. They are cousins of mine. I will go over there, or I will speak to the lady after, and we'll try to see what her circumstances, what legal assistance I can give her. I don't like the way they're speaking to the Barbudans, and I've said so from day one since this hurricane. It is just horrible. It is disrespectful. I mean, when somebody is down, you're supposed to lift them up, not kick them further down than they are. The whole idea, I think there's one word. I don't care about all the deracinated nonsense the Prime Minister was calling the people, but I did not like when he tell them that they are squatters on a land, on an island where their ancestors had been for 300 years. You can't tell somebody they're squatters. And the results, they took it personal. And that is what happened last week. But the Prime Minister needs to realize that you call them squatters, but these so-called squatters have a vote. And they did what they had to do to protect their rights over there. And you cannot talk about your democratic country and victimize people just because they exercise their constitutional right to say no to the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party. And I do believe what is happening down at Barrymore is a direct result because the ABLP got a trashing at last week's council elections. That is what has happened. And they are vindictive, and they're letting the people know, well, if I not go vote for me, then I'm not going to stay in no Barrymore Hotel or any hotel in Antigua. But the people need to realize there's a picket going on tomorrow, and I'm stressing to all the Barbudans who were affected by this Barrymore victimization, those who are not affected, and you can come out, we'll be down there tomorrow at Heritage Key, 10th Street, really, tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And bring your placards. Let the government know that we will defy this nonsense because the people need to rise up. And we are saying rise up, not violently, not overthrowing anything and damaging property. That's not what we're all about. I am an officer of the court. Why am I going out there to cause damage to anybody's property? You understand? But it is a right to protest, and I believe Antiguans sit back and watch things happen to their country and do not get up and do anything. We're not asking you to go act like a hero out there, you know. We're not asked to be Superman. You can give us 10, 15, 20 minutes at a time. You don't have to stay there for the 3 hours. Whatever time, even if you're going to do work in town or you're going to pay a bill or you have your errands, go do them. And when you pass through, come and pick up a placard. It's good for you in a day. I'm telling you, my cholesterol and my blood pressure down because of all these pickets, you know. It's also very healthy for you. You're getting my exercise, my constitutional walk. I get all of that. I'm losing my waist. I've lost about an inch off of my waist. My buckle, my belt buckle is tighter now, all because of picketing. So I do not just utilize picketing for political purposes. I utilize it for my health benefits.
And you get vitamins from the sun.
Listen, Dave, I have a problem. My doctor, Dr. Amadin, he told me in the United States, he told me that I suffer from vitamin D deficiency. I need these pickets. Yeah. It's about my health. You understand? I suffer from vitamin D and a borderline cholesterol. I tell people my situation. And I walk on the picket line. And I don't understand them. I'm not one of them to just stand up on the picket line. I like to go back and forth. Up the road, down the road. Up the road, down the road. You build up a little your heart rate. And you get all the beautiful sun rays down on your skin. And it's good for you. It's healthy. So, man, the doctor is pleased. They said, when I go up to the States, he said, oh, you've been picketing again. I can see from your results.
Now, as we go into the picketing, my main concern about Antigua and Barbuda is that we show respect for each other. You know, we have an elected prime minister in Antigua and Barbuda, an elected government, but you show respect. But that does not deter you from picketing, because picketing is legal.
Picketing is legal, it's a constitutional right, but what I'd say more, I wish they would show the respect for the citizens, the way they talk to individuals, the way that Mr. Hearst, he's the was it chief of staff, coming from the chief of staff in the prime minister's office, saying that we held up a bullhorn on the first flight down at Heritage Key, and the captain of the cruise ship saw that. And he just said, like we say, hey, back up there, back up tugboat, watch out the way. And he just pressed reverse and just got out of Antigua because of a piece of picket.
Was that what he said? And that's how you paraphrase it?
No, but it just sounds foolish to say that somebody could have just tell a whole group of 4,000 passengers, get back on the boat. They are peacefully picketing out there. There's no incident that's iron far. We had about 5 to 6 pickets so far and 2 public meetings. And there's not been one report to the police by a citizen or a resident or anybody on this cruise line of being interfered with. So what is the problem? That is what I want to know. What did we do that is so offensive?
Are you sensitizing the members of the True Labour Party that maybe a time has come for a getting together of the parties, the sprinters parties across Antigua and Barbuda, to come as one political entity for the benefit of Antigua and Barbuda?
No, the True Labour Party is not going to join any organization or dissolve or forget where we stand. We're a principal organization. We stand on what we believe, and that's the bottom line. Win, lose, or draw. That's where we are. If you're talking about a coalition, that's another story.
But that's what I'm speaking
which
of.
We have been speaking about with the UPP for many years now, at least 4. But if you're saying that you're going to see me carrying a UPP membership card,
I'm looking at the
story.
coalition.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Because political parties do get together.
All the time. All the time. There is the BPM and the UPP. That's a good example. They had the dissolve of the APP party back in the day with the ALP back in the early 70s.
That was parties coming together to form the Antigua.
Well, the ALP was already formed, but they were their own political organization, but they dissolved.
And they become part of the Antigua Labour Party.
And then there's the other day with Mr. Nicholas and the, what they call it, OBM.
I don't remember the name, but I know that there was a party.
I think they had a green. They were green also.
They were green?
Yeah, they're like Go Green or something like that. And Ralph Francis was in there. When Melford jumped out in the Labour Party, they only knew after.
You're not serious. You're making a joke of this.
No,
I'm serious.
That's the way people, for political gains, basically you want to get into power. I guess he felt he was on the outside looking in for too long. We in the True Labour Party don't mind if we're outside looking in for the rest of our lives. It's going to be based on principle, or it may never happen, and so be it.
But a coalition can come together.
It can happen. But in regards to us, people say, I never get in there. Okay, we may never get in there. Who is the loser? Not us. You're the loser. You got 39 cruise ships that say they're not coming into Antigua and Barbuda in September.
Is it September or later down?
Sorry, November. From November,
yeah.
Correct, yeah. From November and later down. Because
for the 2019-2020 cruise ship season.
This brilliant government determined that they had leverage. 108 square mile and
with about 62.
And 62. But I'm sure that I'm not sure about the Barbudans right now, as of last week and today, what they did with them and Barrymore. But you have 108 square mile with about 100 people on there, and you think you have some leverage against the cruise industry.
But let me look at this, because I don't like to have one track mind. The fact is that the folks at Barrymore were there, based, and because if my memory serves me correct, there were some folks who were there prior to the Antigua Labour Party taking office in 2014. Mm-hmm. There were Barbudans that was there.
Yes, I've heard so.
Yeah, because when the United Progressive Party was in power, and Mr. Trevor Walker was the, I think he was at Public Works someplace.
He was at Public Works at some point.
But there were Barbudans that was living there.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a Barbudans that was living there with all that. They were working for government, they're getting paid.
Yeah, and then instead of traveling back to Barbuda.
Well, I know they were there.
Yeah, they were there because of the inconvenience of going back.
But with the makings of the government, well, what I'm hoping or what I thought would have happened is the government, because of the fact that they said that they need the venue for workers who are coming in to assist Antigua and Barbuda, I thought that they would go out of their way to find some place for them, not for them to pay for it, but to find something, someplace, instead of this changing their locks and putting them out. I mean, that's inhumane, isn't it?
It is. I mean, you have to listen to each individual case and find out what happened, what is before,
what I'm saying is that here we are. You know you're going to do these things. You know they were there. Yeah. There's so many places. Not you could negotiate with people who have places. I mean, the Barbudans who are working. You said, listen, you have to pay to stay here.
Yeah.
But just to put you out.
Yeah.
And you have no place to go.
It's a bit harsh.
No, I find that rather difficult. Although you would have given them notice, and some may willfully say, me now move. But there are others down there who will have circumstances that they could not move. But now that you put them out, if it is true, where do they go? Where are they going to go? The fines?
Is fines operating?
Fines operating. They move them into the nurses' hostel.
Oh, yeah. We did see them when we were picketing on Thursday. That's where they are now,
Yeah, so, they moved them there.
Actually, I thought that was one of the places that the government said after the hurricane that they were developing up there for the Barbudans.
They did. They did say that. But that some folks, there was a time when the folks from there, the time has come. They said, folks, you have to find some place to go.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And some did. But I'm just looking at the point whereas... two wrongs don't make a right. And I'm just saying, as human beings, you don't change my luck if that's what happened.
Yeah.
And put me out. Just like that.
I will be talking to some of them after this interview to find out what actually happened and if there's something that we can do in the law to address it.
I just believe our government should be a sensitive government. And I do believe that there's something should have just give them some place to stay, some place to go. They would be responsible for it.
Yeah.
But now, if they're out in the street, what do they do?
That's a good question. Dave. I don't know.
It's inhumane.
Yeah. But I would say that after this interview, I will go and speak to a few of them and see what can be done, if anything at all.
They were reaching out for you because they've heard you on the program. So
it's terrible what has been done to the Barbudans. And it's even worse so that a lot of this venom was started or perpetuated by the Prime Minister in his comments towards the Barbudans after that destructive hurricane. In a time like that, you have your leader, you're expected to go over there and to commiserate with the people. It seems to be that only lasted about 24 hours. And after that, they were squatters, they were deracinated, they're lazy, they don't want to work, they want everything for free. By the way I look at the Barbudans, the Prime Minister is the one that touted the CIP program, right? And they're saying the Barbudans do not contribute, they don't pay taxes, they don't do this, they don't do that, and they contribute to national development. When you're selling an Antigua and Barbuda passport, is the Prime Minister selling just the Antiguan part? 50% of the power? Or he said the Antigua and Barbuda. So
you mean
are they contributing their passport to your... You remember this was the economic powerhouse and part of the way it was going to be channeled was the CIP?
We got to go. The picket is tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 9 o'clock. See you there, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
It's good for your skin and you get your exercise.
Thanks a lot. Attorney at law Vere, the third chairman of the True Labour Party. Thanks a lot for being with us this afternoon. That's going to do it for Connecting with Dave. Let's to Payne for today, Wednesday, the 3rd of April.